So this might not seem like much, but it actually took me quite a long time to figure out. And it's these little paws which are basically sort of held on to the chassis at the minute with clips, and they'll be screwed in. But as you can see, they're just sitting nicely above the wheels, which of course when you press down on a surface, these will basically bounce up. And so the other reason for it having this leather uh, aspect to it is also that if you put just the straight up fur too close to the mechanism, it's going to get trapped in the axle and probably break the motor at some point or whatever. Also, the fact that the wheels are going to splash and spray mud, it's much easier to clean the sort of wipeable leather as opposed to getting it covered in all the fur. So either way, at the minute, the other thing is that I basically designed it so it's like this wishbone shape. And the whole point of that is that basically the feet can be put on and off with just one screw, and the 3D printed part is hopefully very, very simple. And the reason for that is me anticipating that the one thing other than the nose, which has got springs on it, is that it will basically get smashed. So here it is open, showing the mechanism working nicely there. And so I think what will happen is the impact will probably hit these and they might snap at some point. So the idea is that they will be quite simple to basically take off and slide off the little mittens, as it were, and then basically bolt it back on through this. So I think this is quite a sort of fun bit of design because you're really using the 3D printing orientation to make it structurally strong in terms of, it basically sort of boinging up and down as it's riding along. But at the same time, if it takes impact, how do you make it so it absorbs the shock rather than just sort of snaps off at the weakest point? So as always, this project for me is not about is this really worth it for a Skunk Mobile? It's about sort of just trying to push myself to see whether I can get the maximum sort of engineering capability out of something that's 3D printed, and not just sort of put in expensive parts. So it could be as simple as that. Actually, I just make two parts and it's got a screw and a bolt going through it. And of course, if it hits something, it just knocks it back out of the way and you move the feet forwards again when you're sort of, happy with it. I guess for me, it'd be nice to have something that's dynamic and springs back into place, but I think that would be a perfectly reasonable sort of fallback position for it. So there we are, devil in the detail. And then once I've done that, I need to basically strip out as much of the weight as possible. Even with this profile, it's actually got two sections. It's got a 4mm section and then a 2mm section on the inside. So doing all of that sort of stuff to try and just reduce plastic, but also reduce waste. And then possibly the weirdest thing I've done in my living room is I will then use my beard trimmers and a vacuum cleaner to shave a skunk. So there we go. Such is my life.